Senator Blackburn, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
So we're here at Politicon. You're here to talk a little bit about technology. Tell us about what you're talking about and some of your concerns about the tech sector.
Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about how big tech has grown. When you look at what has transpired over the last decade and the impact that social media applications and the technology has, not only on our personal lives, but on the entire economic and industrial sector. Everything now has a technology component, and every industry, whether it's healthcare or banking or manufacturing, they're utilizing different technology delivery systems. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk some about the technology task force that I'm leading at Judiciary Committee and the issues of privacy and data security, prioritization, censorship, antitrust, competition.
So I understand that you've introduced the Browser Act that's talking a little bit about privacy and safety. Tell us about that legislation.
Yes, that legislation actually came from my time in the House as chairman of Comms and Tech in the House. And what we're trying to do is give you, the individual user, the right to control and own your virtual you, all of your data online. And Browser is very simple. One set of rules for the entire internet ecosystem, one regulator. It gives you the ability to opt in if you choose to share your sensitive data, and reserves to you the right to opt out if you do not want to share your non-sensitive data, such as your search history. And it says, most importantly, that a social media application cannot boot you off of the platform if you choose not to share your data.
So, Senator, the way we see the big tech debate, there's the privacy implication, there's also the national security implications.
Right.
Of course, with Google. Google, of course, has worked with the Chinese government and then has had their own tangles with their own government. How are you thinking about the national security implications and the Chinese element in particular to big tech?
One of the things that we need to focus more on is encryption, and then how we are going to allow local law enforcement, state law, domestic law enforcement to have access to that information. In addition, when you look at the work we're doing at the Armed Services Committee, we are looking at the encryption issue through DoD, the utilization of spectrum, how we're going to splice that spectrum, how we're going to share that spectrum, and then how we utilize 5G and other technologies to make certain that we keep the lead in artificial intelligence, machine learning, supercomputing, and that is there for our citizens and for our use in the economic security, the domestic security, and the global security arena.
So, Senator, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, he just gave a speech championing trying to position the company as a champion of free speech and of positioning himself as a national champion vis-a-vis China. Now, you've had your own entanglements with Facebook and with big tech on political ads in particular. What was your reaction to that speech?
I kind of chuckled, but I was very pleased to see him say that he was pro-free speech. And I think it is important for Facebook to move forward. They now have developed a news column, a news service. They have a news director. They have a relationship with News Corp where they will actually compensate these individuals that create all of this news content. I think that is very important. You know, an important part of free speech is also when you dovetail that with the property rights and the individuals that create this content and being certain that they are compensated.
So, of course, there's this entire debate right now in Washington about whether Facebook should be fact-checking political ads. It seems to be particularly pushed by Democrats. Now, it seems to me that that's something that you wouldn't want from a platform. Now, how are you thinking about this issue?
One of the things you want to do is make certain that individuals have their right to free speech, and we all have seen ads. I've had millions of dollars of ads run against me that were factually incorrect. And while I disagree with that content, and I disagree with their putting that type content up, I also realize that free speech and political speech is an imperative.
So final question for you, ma'am. The President of the United States, of course, announced this morning that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, has been killed. Just your reaction to that news?
I said immediately, I tipped my hat and touched my heart with gratitude for the men and women of our Special Operations Forces. And here in Tennessee, we have the 160th and the 5th Group that are headquartered at Fort Campbell. And knowing that these men and women exercise this dedication, and they have worked on this mission for weeks, they were able to locate him, isolate him, and go in and execute this mission. It's really quite remarkable.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Senator. We really appreciate it.
Happy to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely.